what really happened, to the opposition, to the civil society organization, to, or even the people in general. Up to this point, they continue to exercise this, self-censorship. How can we break through that?
So self-censorship is rife in Singapore throughout all levels, from the people, the civil service, to the press. There was a joke I was telling a friend outside yesterday at the Malaysian Journalists Association booth. Someone was wearing a shirt that said, "Respect media existence or expect resistance." In Singapore, that t-shirt would say, "Respect media existence or not, that's okay as well." And we have journalists, we have senior journalists in Singapore who, a video was leaked last year, who go to a forum and say, we are not the fourth estate, we are not a watchdog of the government, we are not interested in being a watchdog of the government, it is okay. The sort of repression that happens in Singapore is okay because we get good stuff out of it. So that's very much the dominant narrative now. There is a lot of this in education, in schools, where we're taught it's a trade-off. We're taught that it's a trade-off that has worked well for us, even though at what point was there a negotiation in which we all agreed to trade? Nobody asked. So there's a lot of self-censorship that's not even recognized as self-censorship at this point, because I've spoken to university students who will tell me that the government has never abused its power, and they trust that the government will not abuse the power. And then 5 minutes later, when I say something, they will say, you can't say that, they will take you away. And they don't recognize that this is a contradiction that they're walking around with, right? So it's very difficult to have conversations about abuse of power with generations of people who have no knowledge of abuse of power in their own country and context. So what happens now is a challenge is, for us, it's very much political education that we need. So it's not even to the point of mobilization onto the streets, because you cannot get anybody onto the streets. Even activists themselves are afraid to go on the streets. So it's about political education to inform people that certain things that we take for granted or we are told is fact in Singapore is not fact, that Singaporeans were not born apathetic, that certain things have happened to us as a people that led us to this point, and it really requires a lot of effort to get Singaporeans to be more acquainted with our own history, acquainted with our own political history particularly, and to hear a lot more cases of situations where things are just not right. And I think that's happening a little bit in Singapore, particularly when there are a lot of cases that show incompetence in the government, because Singaporeans are less shaken by human rights abuses, but more shaken by incompetence of the government. So you will see no outrage over death penalty, but massive outrage if the train breaks down for 2 hours. And so in recent years, we've seen more cases like train breakdowns, data leaks, deaths during military conscription that are slowly pushing Singaporeans to think maybe the government doesn't have all the answers.